sparring club is coming. November 14th, London. Mark your diary. See you there, you f***ing tart.
Boxing King Media, delighted to be joined by Eddie Hearn on this Friday evening. Plenty to talk about, Eddie. You're in New York to cause a bit of a shitstorm, I'm guessing, tomorrow night.
Yeah, we'll be heading to Dallas tomorrow. I mean, not. I think that it's important to push the fight with Boots and Ortiz. Do you know what I mean? Like we sat in a room, us, Golden Boy, Dazn, we all agreed that this was the fight we all wanted to do. We went away, we signed the terms that we'd agreed in the room. Doesn't mean the fight's done, by the way. I'm not saying that, but Ortiz has been a bit quiet on it, to be honest with you. I respect that he's got his fight with Lubin, but we just want to be there to say we want that fight. We feel like that's the best fight in the division, Boots Ortiz. And I think going is a good statement of, we're not going for a laugh. We're going because we really want it. And, Boots isn't the kind to start vaulting over the top rope and sticking the nut on him. But even him to go is quite a big statement to say, let's just do it. No disrespect, two great fighters, two young fighters in their prime. Let's make it happen.
Would you make this with yourself and Golden Boy, or would you look for Turkey to kind of lead the way on that fight?
No, a Matchroom Golden Boy event. That's the model with Dazn. We want to make it happen. We think that Dazn have invested a lot of money in both fighters, so I think they're going to be quite forceful with everybody to say, guys, we've backed you here. Now it's time. And I think both guys need to chase that. We feel Boots is a top pound for pound fighter. Oscar feels the same about Virgil Ortiz. Let's find out. Let's not wait till the guys are 32, 33. They're both in their, their young 20s. They're in their absolute prime. Let's go.
Indeed. You've just announced a couple of shows as well, some good shows to, for your new generation of talent, and you've got a show in Ghana as well. Which fight out of all of them whets you up? Which one are you really looking forward to? Like, name me one good 50-50 fight that you think that's going to steal.
Well, I think there's a few. I mean, McGrail Masood, I
Good.
think is a tremendous domestic fight. Conor Walker against Pat McCormack, unbelievable fight. I love maybe a little bit more for the purist, but Beatrice Ferreira against Elif Turhan, the female fight for the world title, phenomenal fight. Even Sean McComb against Hugo Mikalev, brilliant fight on the Monaco card as well. Cameron Vong against Gavin Gwynn, 2. And then when you look at Stockton, I love Pacheco against Saggio, 51-0 between them. And I love Joe Cordina against Gabe Flores. So yeah, loads and loads. I mean, next week, obviously, Ben Eubank and probably fights like Catchell Esserman are going massively under the radar because of Ben Eubank. But there's so much good stuff coming. And January, February as well, particularly, we're coming out really hot with 4 shows, 2 in the UK, 2 in America. That will be really, really big shows and big events.
And what ties in with that is I saw an email from the Zone today about this Zone Ultimate Pack, and I was reading through it. It sounded so good. I was thinking at the end it's going to say like it's $1,000 a year or something, but I was surprised. 25.
I've got to be honest. Like, I mean, I think that obviously some people think that I am Dazn, right? Which I'm not. But of course, they are my partner, and I'm heavily invested in them emotionally on the journey that we've shared together. And I think that one thing they've been really good at is being quite reactive. It's not an organisation like a Sky Sports or where there's all these sort of layered decisions that take years and years. This is a decision that I think they've made and said, look, we understand there are a lot of pay-per-views at the moment, and we're listening to the market, and you're saying that you don't think some of them should quite be pay-per-view, or you think that some should and some shouldn't. And here what they're doing is they're saying, look, the big fights are going to continue. So rather than keep doing pay-per-views, we're going to include it in your monthly subscription, but we're going to charge you a little bit more than you would be paying. But actually, I was like you. I was thinking, so you get 12 pay-per-views plus all the boxing each month.
Football.
I'm thinking, go on then, tell me the price. And they told me, I was like, wow, actually, because like you got Ben Eubank, for example. Basically, every DAZN customer in the UK is buying Ben Eubank, right? That's just a given. Then the November 22nd card. It's another great card. You got particularly You know, from a UK perspective, you've got Sam Noakes fighting for the world title there. You've got Anthony Yard fighting Benavidez, Haney Norman, Bam against. That's another pay-per-view. And then you've got all the other stuff planned. Whether it's I don't know whether these are landing, but Shakur against Teofimo. You've got probably AJ returning at some point. So actually, the values is really, really impressive. I'm sure people will moan and people will try and find a reason why it's not good value for money. But I think it's actually really put the pressure on Dazn, if I'm honest, because financially, it's got to be a success, that package, to make the pay-per-views work. If I'm being honest. So yeah, I like it. I think it's really put a flag in the sand to say we're listening, we're learning, and we think this is the future.
No, 100%. Like I said, if it was going to be 50 quid, I was going to grill you about it. But I just found out just before I pressed record that it's 25. I'm like,
I know.
I definitely thought I misread it.
Yeah.
So, also, they've got Izzy's bringing the prize fighter format back tomorrow, the heist.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're going to be tuning in. Why have you never brought it back? Just like because it was such a big hit.
Yeah, it was. It started to lose a little bit of its draw power, if I'm honest. I think what happened is we used Prize Fighter to reach out to the casuals and reinvigorate and reignite the interest in the sport, because I felt like what the product that was being offered to fight fans wasn't good enough. And Prize Fighter did an amazing job. But as people started to get more and more interested in boxing, Prize Fighter just started to go like that a little bit, because they wanted real fights. They wanted real, championship, big nights in big arenas. So we just went that way. We've always flirted with the idea of bringing Prize Fighter back, and it's nice of Izzy to copy our format, in the heist. But we wish him all the best with it. I'm sure it'll do well.
He's
It's
not
good
paid.
fun, and it's all action, fast paced, and that's what the consumer likes in modern day society.
I think you paid 32 grand. I think he's paid 25. So
Is he? Yeah, no. Well, no, don't forget 32 was for the winner.
yeah, yeah.
Isn't his 25 for the whole thing?
I think it's
Or is it?
25 for the winner, basically. Yeah.
Is it? Wow, I didn't think it was that much.
Yeah. I think he's announcing a bonus for the knockouts. But
Oh, good.
AJ is the other big story. Can you confirm or deny? Because nothing's come out from AJ or Ben Davison. There's obviously been a lot of rumor mongering, people talking about him training with Team USYK and not working with Ben anymore. Is there going to be any statement regarding that relationship?
I think any statement will come from AJ. I mean, I've learned over the years that, you know, for me to talk out on issues like that is a little bit disrespectful to everybody involved. I don't think anything is confirmed right now, if I'm honest. AJ has always gone into other camps, kept evolving, kept learning, kept listening. He has spent time in the USYK camp. I don't think that's a secret. But I think any official announcement, which hasn't been, I don't think, confirmed yet, will come from him. And no doubt will be in due course.
The logistics of him having this 8-round fight, if that is still there, how do you negotiate with an opponent to fight Anthony Joshua for an 8-rounder? Because they're still going to want crazy money, aren't they?
Of course, it won't be a traditional 8-round purse. And he might not do an 8-rounder. I mean, still, I was in Orlando last week and it was like everyone's putting it on me and they put it on me in the broadcast. Will he fight? And everything changes, honestly, every day. Like, we're in a lot of different conversations right now about fights and deals. And some would include maybe a run out this year, some wouldn't. But it is November. And before you know it, it'll be December. And we're running out of time if we're going to box this year. The good thing about that kind of 8-round fight is you can slot it in at a few weeks' notice. We don't need to sell tickets on it. We don't need to have him at the press conferences. We don't need to be shooting promos, because it's not for that. It's for him. Any fight like that would just be for Anthony Joshua's, mind, body, training setup, whatever it is, just to get back into the mode. And we don't necessarily need it, but there is a chance it could happen. But again, every day that passes, it becomes less likely.
What's more likely, 8-rounder against an opponent or Jake Paul this year?
I
Percentage.
don't know. I think with Jake Paul, I've had
Are you having
conversations.
talks, basically?
Sorry?
Are you having talks with Jake Paul?
I'm talking to Nikisa. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's definitely not anything to report. Of course, we would take the fight. I mean, if we're going to have a 8-round comeback fight and we're offered an 8-round fight against Jake Paul, it's kind of like job done. But there's a lot of hoops to overcome. Obviously, we are exclusive to Dazn, number one. Secondly, we don't have a contract at the moment with His Excellency, but we work with His Excellency on Anthony Joshua, and that will definitely be respected. But I like the idea. I do respect the business of Jake Paul. I'd also love to see him get chinned. And I know that AJ would do that in spectacular fashion. So I'd be up for it. I know AJ would be up for it. But at the moment, I wouldn't tell you it was close or anything like that.
Last two for you. The lawsuit type issue you've got going on with Chris Eubank Jr., is that likely to be sorted before the press conference next Thursday?
I very much doubt it. I mean, you know, unfortunately, Chris is very good at spinning narrative to people that might not be the sharpest tools in the box. So, when you want to put out, I feel like the stuff that he put out last week was kind of like trying to justify what he said, but nothing can actually justify what he said. Because what he said was Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, those scumbags stopped the ambulance from leaving. And I don't really care what people think. I'm not having it because this business is everything to me. My reputation is everything to me. The reputation of Matchroom, my father, is one. If away from Chris Eubank, I mean, even speak to his dad and ask him about Matchroom and ask him about my dad. Like the last thing, I mean, firstly, at the time that ambulance was leaving, I was with Conor Benn. I think we were in a press conference at the time. And as if, like, what does he think that we radio someone and say, oh yeah, don't let the ambulance leave, hold it. It's the most disgusting comments you could ever make. But unfortunately, Chris is that stubborn. The people around him would say, couldn't you just sort of say, my ambulance, I would have liked to get out there quicker. And I think we should learn from anything that happened on the night. But of course, Eddie Hearn didn't lay down in front of my ambulance or tell anybody to stop my ambulance. It's the most ridiculous comments you could make. But he won't do that because of how stubborn he is and because of the chip on his shoulder, which is sad in a way. But, unfortunately, it's probably going to get to a case where no one will back down and someone will have to decide who's right and who's wrong.
I'm definitely looking forward to that press conference next Thursday. Last question for you, a bit of a side one. There's hundreds of YouTube channels out there. There's new ones getting created every week. You as a promoter, what do you want to see from YouTube channels to get your attention?
I mean, I'm not just saying it because it's you, but you do ask very, very good questions, and it's a different kind of slant. Like, unfortunately, with me, I've built a reputation for myself where I give everybody time, and I will always continue to do that where I can. Sometimes it's not easy when you're up on a schedule and it's, and you can only do 5 minutes with people or 10 minutes with people. Obviously, I understand that certain questions are going to drive numbers. So like Anthony Joshua, Conor Benn and Eubank, like all this kind of stuff. But I like answering different kind of questions. I mean, I like it when we spin off a little bit and talk a little bit about life. And even with IFL, I do a lot with them, obviously, but every now and again, Colm will do a decent chat and it might be talking about my dad or my childhood and life lessons and stuff like that, because I think that's quite interesting to listen to. But also, we all have a responsibility to report. And reporting is the news and the current affairs hot subject. So it's a bit of that mixed in with some different kind of stuff, but also keeping it kind of real and honest with yourself to create content that you think is engaging. I thought your stuff with Kel was really good, and really raw and honest, and not a lot of people have got that out of Kel. And I think Kel can be a little bit of a flag bearer and a beacon for people who might be struggling as well, because he's a really good example of someone that, apart from the people close to him, no one would have ever known that he's been struggling for a long time. Really, that's the reality, and it's an everyday process. I don't think it's one, you don't wake up one day or have a couple of conversations and go, I'm all right now, I can't believe it, I was sad for so many years, but I'm absolutely fine now, because life's not like that. And the one thing that I've learned is that there's no point in searching for that, that perfect life or that ray of sunshine every single, you think that that's going to come every single day. Some days you have bad days. Some days you feel like shit. But it's the consistency and the hope that actually over time you're going to learn what makes you happier. You've got to overcome your problems. You've got to speak to people. But people have also got to realise that, there's that big, pick up the phone. It's okay to talk. Like the reality is that most men don't, because it's not the thing to do. And especially in an industry like boxing, it's not the thing to do. Oh, I'm sad. I feel like come on, hit the gym. Yeah. Like it's just. So I think that from Ricky and from Kel as well, you can learn that actually sometimes you have to deep dive into people a little bit more. Because I think Kel would have always said, "I'm fine, I'm great, baby, yeah, but yeah." But underneath, he's been fighting demons for years and years and years. From when I started, I've known him very well over the years. And that was one of the reasons we made certain decisions in his career that people will never understand. Because I wanted him to get paid, because I knew it was a ticking time bomb. And no matter how much we tried to help him, we couldn't get him to where we wanted him to be. And I was just really pleased to see your interview with him and see a little sparkle in his eye, and see him happy, because it's fantastic.
Generally, yeah, appreciate you highlighting that, and thank you very much. And just on Colum's interview, you can just say yes or no. That loss you had on the Luke Campbell fight, was that more or less than seven figures?
It was around that number in dollars, yeah. But it was nowhere near what it is now. I think, what was that, like 6, 7 years ago? So we were still doing very well at the time, but we were not doing anywhere near as well as we were doing now. Even if it was now, it would have been horrible. But at the time, it was like, and don't forget, we just lost the AJ fight. So it was like, hang on, Anthony Joshua's just got beat. My head's gone. I'm bringing Lomachenko to the UK. We lose seven figures in dollar or whatever. And it's like, and that's when you got to be really careful to just not spiral and start. It's like sitting in a casino and you do your money and then you're like, reload, and you do your money again. And then all of a sudden your head's gone. You're making terrible, irrational decisions. And before you know it, it gets worse and worse and worse. So you just got to step back, remove yourself from the situation, breathe, and just try and take the emotion out of decisions. And that's something I've learned over the years.
Good stuff. Yeah, some good learning points there, Eddie. Thank you very much for your time, and all the best tomorrow. And we want to see some pushing and shoving between you and Oscar tomorrow.
Yeah. Hopefully, hopefully not. But we'll see you in London next week as well.
Thank you very much.
Sparring Club is coming. November 14th, London. Mark your diary. See you there, you f***ing tart.